Okay, so once you log into your RiskFusion account, this is the dashboard page. So the dashboard page is made up of lots of different information to do with your trading. I'm going to just talk through each section of it now. So at the very top, we've got all the main information. So we have the account balance, your monthly P&L in both the monetary amount and also the percentage. You've got your quarterly outlook, okay, so whether you're generally positive or negative for the month, and then you've got your current risk percentage. Now, of course, this is the RiskFusion dynamic risk, and it is based on whether you choose either the accelerated model or the reserved model. So that gives you all of that information in this section. Underneath that, we have the monthly profits, and you can also see here we have a toggle, and you can then look at your quarterly profits as well. And we also have all the different years of data. So if you traded during 2025, you can then toggle that in here, and you can simply see all of your data. You can just highlight over them and you can see the different percentages, okay, again for the months or the quarters. And if you want to just have a look at your overall performance for the whole year, you can just come up here and you can click on show data, and it will just give you a run through of every single month, okay, and how you performed in one single group, okay. So you get all of those percentage values just in there. So that is the monthly profit section, okay. And then down here in the bottom left, we have the yearly trade stats. So the yearly trade stats are linked to whichever year you have toggled. So if I put this back to 2026, you'll see that we now have all the information just for 2026, and it just goes into, you know, a little bit more detail here. We've got the total trades, your win rate, your total P&L in both monetary and percentage. We've then got your best and your worst month for the whole year. Okay, and then we've got the profit factor, your average month, again in percentage, and also your R value, and then your average R per trade. Okay, so that looks at all of your trades. What is your average R? Okay, and it says 1.76 just in there. So again, okay, you can see that for every year that you plot data, and it will just give you a good general idea as to how you're performing, okay? Very helpful information. And then if we come over to here, we have the weekly performance. So this will track the current live week that we're currently on. Okay, you can see that the week is currently marked in here, February the 16th to February the 22nd. And it just gives you a good overview of what's been happening. Okay, your weekly total P&L, again in both percentage and money, your total trades, and your win rate just for that week. Okay, if you want a little bit more of a deeper dive into how you're performing on a short-term basis. Okay, and then you'll just see the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the percentages. Okay, primarily made for Forex trading, and also people who trade, you know, commodities and indices, generally between Monday and Friday. Okay, so the crypto people, it won't actually show you your Saturday and Sunday trades, but they will be logged in the totals. So again, you can also toggle this for the weeks and the months. So if I switch this to months, you can see February 2026, and now we've got a little bit of data. Okay, total trades 1. My monthly win rate is now 100%. Okay, and that's what I'm currently up. And it tells you that week 1 was 0, and then now we're on week 2, and it was positive, and we're up 3.69%. So, okay, all that information is there for the current week and the current month. And then over here on the right hand side is your general trading overview. So this takes into account all the data for all the years. Okay, it doesn't just look at the current time, and it doesn't just look at whatever we've got toggled here. Okay, it will take into account 2025, 2026, all the years, and how are you generally performing. So you'll get a total trades, okay, in total. You'll have your win rate, okay, which is for 2025, 2026, everything that's happened. And here you just have a few more stats about what's been going on. You've got your risk phase, okay, it says growth. Now the risk phases will either say growth or it will say drawdown. Now that determines whether or not your dynamic risk model is expanding and it's increasing, okay, because you've been performing well, or whether it means your risk model is actually in more of a defensive mode and you're now trading at a slightly lower risk, but it just means you're in a little bit of drawdown and we are protecting our account. So it'll tell you, okay, there what the risk phase is, and the risk model is what you can actually determine yourself. At the moment we have 2 risk models, the accelerated and the reserved, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail in another video. So it tells you there which one you've chosen, and of course then just your profit factor, okay, for your whole account in total. Then down here we have a little bit more information. We've got the average win and loss in monetary values and also the average win and loss in R values. Okay, so you can see how much you win and lose roughly in here. And then we have our total account profit of all time. Okay, so this gives you your monetary value, your percentage, and your R across your whole account across all years. Okay, how much money you've made in total. And then at the very bottom we have our RiskFusion Dynamic Edge. Now this actually shows you how much additional profit you've made by using our risk models. Now our risk models should generate you more profit over time compared to a fixed risk model. For example, if you were trading the accelerated risk model, we base that on the fact that if you were trading a fixed risk, you would risk 1% every single trade forever, regardless of whether it wins or loses. Okay, but of course if we applied our accelerated risk model to that, it means we start at 1%, but our risk will fluctuate up and down depending on how we are performing. Okay, and over time, as the risk model generates you more profit for exactly the same trade entries, this will tell you how much more money you've actually made by following RiskFusion. Okay, and it will tell you how much more percentage you've also made in there. So a good metric there just to get a good understanding of how the tools are actually working. So that's the main things for the dashboard. Of course, if you do want a little bit more space, you can simply shrink that down. Okay, gives you a little bit more space on the dashboard. And we do have the eye icons in here. If you did want a bit more information, okay, it will just explain to you in a little bit more detail about each section. So that's pretty much everything for the dashboard page. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the trades page.